In last week's parasha, we have a very peculiar incident where Avraham Avinu is negotiating with God regarding Sodom. And we learn from that engagement or exchange a great deal about one aspect of our lives, and that is the aspect of prayer. And in a way, there's a lot to learn from us and how we're doing it. So it says over there, when God says, I will descend down and I would see if it really is as bad as what the people of Sodom are doing, I'll check it out. And it says, Vayigash Avraham. And Avraham, mazi yigash. He came forward, approached. Vayomer av tisped tzadikim rasha. The emphasis is on the word vayigash. What's a vayigash? Approach. What does it mean approach? So Rashi says the following. It says, Vayigash matzinu hagasha lemilchama. Hagasha, approaching, is to war. When we have the story with Yoav, Vayigash over there. Hagasha lefiyus, right? Hagasha lefiyus is to appease, to try to make friends again. When Yehuda approaches Yosef, and then there is Vagasha letfilah, and approaching for prayer. It's in when Eliyahu Navi and so on and so forth came in Kings 1, chapter 18, and it says, "Ulechol ele nichnas Avraham medaver kashot ulefiyus uletfilah." And when it talks about Avraham Avinu included all of them in his approach to God. In other words, he went to so-called war, to appease, and to prayer. What do you mean? What, Avraham is going to do war with God? So of course not. But it teaches us a great deal regarding how we have to do prayer. There is a book, it's called Etzion. It's a very interesting idea. He has sometimes you're up to let's say you have a team, a football team or basketball, whatever it is, and they're not doing so well in the first half, and comes the coach and he gives them a prep talk and the thing, and they all get pumped up and they're going and they erase whatever happened in the first half, and then they really win the game because he kind of pepped them up. Or before people are going to war. Regardless of what it is, when you go to war, if you're a normal human being, you're going to be afraid you're going to be. So listen, I'm going to war. It's not something. And that's another thing that we take for granted, without a doubt, is the people who serve in the armed forces and do what most of us would not do, is they really sacrifice their lives and they put their life on the line every single time when they go to battle and so on and so forth. So next time you see a soldier or somebody wearing uniform like a soldier or even National Guard, go say thank you, say I appreciate what you do, because you would not do what they do. So we learn from that, and we have to go for appeasing. Like you have to approach it appropriately. You remember, not so long ago, we have Tfilat Ne'ilah, the end of Yom Kippur. All of a sudden, you are so charged for that, and your Tfilat Ne'ilah is probably the most powerful tefillah that you have throughout the whole entire year, because you really know that your year is on the line. The whole entire life is on the line, depends on this particular tefillah. So at that moment you forgot that you were tired and you were hungry and you were thirsty, and you find this koach within yourself to actually pray and to on your behalf to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And of course, there is tefillah, prayer. So what does it mean? It means that most of us don't pray right. We come in, we say the words, blah, 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 right? And we go on. And then you feel like prayer is not really doing this for me. I don't feel anything when I pray. You don't feel anything when you pray because you haven't prepared yourself appropriately. When we spoke about it last week, when people coming to shul, they're catching a thing, they all of a sudden, you need to prepare yourself. It says in the Gemara that Hasidim Rishonim, the early sages, prepared themselves an hour before spiritual preparation, an hour in prayer, in other words, Shmoneh Esrei, and an hour after to be able to go on from this spiritual high. What spiritual high? I mean, for me, it's a burden. Prayer is a burden. I want to get out of here. It's in my way to continue doing what I was doing. So when you want to come to prayer, you need to, first of all, prep yourself up. Like you're going to a war, like you're going now, and you need to prep yourself in terms of understanding that, every single day, every single time you pray, your life is on the line. The life of the world is on the line with your prayer. You got to bring yourself up. Or when the Shaliach Tzibur goes, said, prep him up. And lepiyus, you have to understand that your life is on the line, so you have to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu from Midat HaChesed to Midat HaRachamim. And you have to really understand, and that's when you prep yourself up, and then in this preparation, you don't pray to God like this. You pray from asking for rachamim, for mercy, for you, for your family, for the country, for the world. Maybe your words are what's going to tip the line this way or that way. And that's how you prepare yourself for tefillah. When you come into tefillah, you have to ask for rachamim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you go to the Shaliach Tzibur, you got to tell him, listen, do me a favor, go daven. You don't say it to him like this. Say, Lech tavi lanu rachamim. And the Shaliach Tzibur should understand that the tefillah of the Tzibur, the rachamim upon them, that's why you have to have somebody who is appropriate, is on his shoulders. It's a tremendous responsibility. When people always wonder, how come a person, when he was such a gung ho when he was running to office, all of a sudden becomes president or prime minister or whatever it is, all of a sudden he softens up. Because if he's a normal, responsible human being, he will understand that any decision that he makes has to do with people's life. So all of a sudden things are not so, he's not such a, Billy the Kid, pulling the gun, blazing and shooting out and going, unless of course you're a lunatic. So Shaliach Tzibur, you need to understand that the rachamim of the Tzibur is on his shoulder. And he was selected on their behalf to bring the tefillot to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So don't take your tefillah for granted. Don't take prayer for granted. If you want to know how to pray, start with that. You need to bring yourself up to tefillah. Prep yourself up for the tefillah. Be excited and understand and pump yourself up. But together with that, you're mixing in the Midat HaRachamim. Therefore the tefillah, not only, and then the tefillah is going to be heard. Why? Because the tefillah is flat. And yet you see something fantastic with that Avraham Avinu prayed to Hashem to save 5 cities. And nothing was saved. Lot was saved 1, saved Tzor. How is it possible? Because when Lot prayed for Tzor, he prayed because he was in distress. He found this place in his side he felt, please. Avraham Avinu prayed, but he prayed from the outside. You want your prayers to be answered. You want your prayers to connect, for yourself to connect with. Find that spot in you that you associate with what is happening. When you pray for somebody who's sick, it's a stranger. Are you going to pray the same thing? Let's say if one of your first relations, one of your relatives, close relatives is sick, or you are sick. Of course not. It can be completely different. When you're going to go to your simcha, your own happy occasions, are you going to be as happy as you go to somebody else's occasions? Absolutely not. That's the problem. When you're going to greet people who are mourning, are you going to be sad for them as if it was you? Of course not. When you pray, do you really pray and mean it, and you find that spot that you connect to the words? Then your tefillah will be answered. If not, you got to do all these other things. So I hope that now we're going to daven mincha, today, the next tefillah coming online. Do yourself a favor, and do the world a favor. Don't pray like you prayed yesterday. Try to remember what I said to you today. Have a great day.